everybody. My name is Rex Ahini. I'm the tycoon investor who commissioned you guys to develop the property that I have in mind. I'm a dreamer. I wish a whole lot of things, but to be able to determine whether you guys have done a real good job for me, I brought my friends over here to help me decide whether you guys have done what will serve my purpose as an investor. So let me introduce the judges for you. We have Jennifer Ottenberger, the class of 95, right? Right. Sure. Jennifer is the vice president for leasing at Brandywine Real Estate based in Philadelphia. She's been a very strong supporter of this program and everything we're doing to help our students understand how you translate and convert the quantitative skills, the analytical skills, the communication skills, the critical thinking skills that is the basis of our liberal arts education Lafayette, and turn it around to apply in a practical, tangible way to demonstrate the value of the education we're getting over here. Real estate happens to be just a vehicle through which we hope to convey the practicality and the application of the skills that you acquire in Lafayette. Jennifer has been a very strong supporter of the whole enterprise, and we are very glad she's here to help us tonight as well. Okay, right. And then we have Dallas Pulliam. Dallas is also vice president for real estate, responsible for the Lehigh Valley Health Network, more than 300 properties in the Lehigh Valley that is part of his portfolio. He's been in the business for quite some time. Dallas, again, your class of 98 from Lafayette. So again, went through exactly the same process you are going through here. And this is what he's doing with his education, doing some very good work for the Lehigh Valley Hospital Network. And of course, my friend here, Scott Van Cleef, class of 85, right? Long time. And last time you did something that I will never forget. He pulled one of the exams I gave him in class from his pocket from 1985. So,
how good his exams were back then.
Exactly. Scott, of course, is a developer. He's owner, founder, basically in charge of real estate development for County Classics. It's a New Jersey-based multi-family, single-family apartment developer. So he's very familiar with the work that you guys are putting together. This is basically the core part of his business. Scott, of course, has also supported this program for quite a while, and we're looking forward to him coming back on campus a few more times from the fall. I want to introduce to you a very new friend of ours, Garrett Vassell. Garrett is a developer. He's the owner of the Commodore down in Easton. Commodore is a brand new development that came on board. It went through a very elaborate transformation process, but all the stages you go through in the development process and the challenges that you face, he's been through that. We started this class by looking at the development process and building the foundation on that. And it will be very interesting to bring him into the classroom probably in the fall to share some of his experience. Garrett was very interested in getting to know what we do, who we are, and how we go about it. So he's our guest tonight, and we're very glad to have him over here. And of course, we have Jack Riley here. Jack is a project manager, of course, class of 2018, right? City Center, Allentown, J.B. Riley's company. Jack has been a very important resource person for the class. We brought him here so many times that it seems like you're back on campus being a student again. Took us to the site to do the site inspections, and I've actually come to the class to help us figure out some of the resources and data that we need to pull this together. So what we're doing tonight is really to have 4 teams that have gone through the process over the last 4 weeks when the case was revealed to them. Based upon the foundation that we gave in class, they've developed a project concept, done the research, modeled the property and the financials and believe that they have something to say. So we're gonna give them a chance to show us exactly what we've done. We use a ballot in class to decide who goes first. And I'm gonna call on to Dyer investors to come us up and give us your presentation. Dyer, thank you very much. Now, each team has 15 minutes. I'm gonna be the timekeeper. At the 12.5 minute point, I'm gonna just remind them that they have a minute or two to wrap up. And I'm gonna be the bulldog to shut it down exactly on 15 minutes, so they know they're on the clock. All right? So Jaco, it's your turn.
Hey everyone, I just want to say thank you all for coming out. We are Jocko investors, and we're going to be showing you guys our proposal for the Northridge garden style apartments. Meet the team. Like I said, we're Jocko investors, and I am Tim O'Hearn, market analyst, class of 2025.
I'm Chris Caracia, financial analyst, class of 2025.
Darcy Genti, project manager, class of 27.
I'm Dylan Aguilera. I'm an analyst. I helped Chris and Tim. I'm class of 26.
So looking at what we're going to be discussing tonight, first we're going to talk about what is the project, and then we're going to look into our due diligence, market analysis, our proposal, financial analysis, some sensitivity analysis, possible risks, and then our final recommendation on whether the project is feasible or not feasible.
Our assignment was to create a garden style proposal for the Northridge site in Allentown, Pennsylvania, and decide whether the project is feasible. Some of the things we had to take into consideration was 50% of apartments of affordable housing, 120 units, 1 to 2 parking spaces per unit, 80% of building rentable space, 10-year holding period, FAR of 0.5, 30 units per acre, and building height of 65 feet maximum.
So looking into our site is a 200 acre property located off Hanover Avenue in Allentown. And it fits right into the Allentown 2030 vision plan. As part of the site, we're gonna have some strong public transportation. We will have a Atlanta bus service right here, which is going to be good for the site development. As you can see, 42% of the site is going to be green open space. So we're gonna have a lot of room for trails and parks along the site. And then the best part about this project is the prime location. Allentown's located 60 miles away from from New York City and Philadelphia. And because of this, we have seen post-COVID, we have seen a bunch of businesses move out of New York City and Philadelphia into the Allentown region, especially companies in the distribution logistics industries. And then there are 2 major interstates that give you access to the entire East Coast, along with 11 colleges and 3 technical schools in the area.
Some Allentown attractions include the Lehigh Valley Zoo, Allentown Art Museum, Park Central Access, Lehigh Valley Mall, the Coca-Cola Park, PPL Center, America on Wheels, and Dorney Park.
Looking at the national housing market, this past month we saw an 8.8% increase in the new home sales. And then we're seeing highest construction levels that we've seen in decades, which is because of this housing shortage we've seen nationally. Last month we saw a 1.9% decrease of median house prices, which is because that supply is starting to pick up a little bit, but it's not something that we were seeing in the Lehigh Valley. Currently, the national average is around 6.6 for rental vacancies. And then the most important part about the real estate market is the 30-year mortgage. 7% is what it's been hanging around this year, along with last year, and that's because of the high interest rate environment. And as more economic data has come out recently, we're looking at these mortgage rates to stay higher. A lot of real estate investors were expecting it to drop down by the end of the year, but that's not something that is going to happen after recent economic data.
And as we go on to the local housing market in Allentown, you can see that the vacancy rate is 3.1% compared to the national average, which is around 6.6%, which is a huge indicator that a development is going to fill up here. Additionally, growing job market and unemployment is at 3.9% in Allentown, which is currently a 20-year low. 20 years ago, it was around 7%. So that's an indication that people are coming to this area to work. People who work need housing. So, there's also a lack of new supply, which has caused the large housing deficit of 10,000 units. So this lack of supply needs new developments to come in and take care of that 10,000 unit deficit.
Yeah, then looking into our actual proposal, so our proposal is a 120 unit garden style apartment complex. It's gonna be on 4 acres of land with 115,000 square feet of rentable space. We're gonna have 150 parking spaces. And then our amenities for our proposal are only gonna be a gym and a sports court. We found that in the current stage of the tenants that we're targeting, most people are not gonna be they would rather have more square footage in a bedroom than all the extra amenities. So we're driving away from that and adding extra square footage into our bedrooms, which you can see are gonna be, one bedroom will be a 720 square foot, and then we'll have another one that's also a 1 bedroom, it's 840 square feet. And we did 2 different 1 bedrooms because originally the proposal was a studio apartment, but we found that in the Lehigh Valley market, studio apartments probably aren't going to have that. There's already a lack of supply there, but I think it's really because there is no demand. If we were in New York City or a larger market, then I would say that the studio would fit, but not in the location that we were targeting. And then, so our targets of the population, we're targeting around 52% of the population. We're targeting downsizing retirees, young individuals, and then small families, which make up around 52% of the population. And then for our pricing, our 720 square foot apartment is going to be 1,638. Our 840 square foot is going to be 1,802. And then our 2 bedroom, 2 bath, which is 1,400 square feet, is going to be $3,270. And then going into our financial analysis of the project, I'm gonna hand it over to Chris.
Yeah, so taking a look at the sources and uses of our funding, we're projecting a total estimated project cost of about 28 million, with 23 million of that coming from hard costs and the other 5 coming from soft cost. We are estimating a construction loan of about $15 million at an 8.5% interest rate, which gives us a loan to value ratio of about 53.5. Moving into the revenue, expenses, and net operating income. In the first year, we're expecting a gross income of about 2.8 million, with operating expenses of about 1.2 million, which gives us a year 1 NOI without our debt service at about 1.6 million. Moving into year 10, we're expecting our income to grow to about 4.4 million, and the expenses only increasing to about 1.6 million. And our annual debt service was about 1.4. Moving into our pro forma results, we have our exit cap rate, which we estimated to be about 6%, which gave us a sale price of 45 million after the 10-year holding period. Next up, we had our internal rate of return, which levered we found to be 16.7 and unlevered to be 8.67. Our equity multiple we found to be 5.94, meaning that every dollar invested should yield $5.94. And cash flows we found in year 10 to be 1.5 million, which includes the annual debt service. Next up is our sensitivity analysis using SWOT. First up, we have our strengths. We have positive cash flow in every single year. Like we said before, the proximity to big metropolitan areas like New York City, like Boston, like Philadelphia is going to help out a lot for us. And also our location on the Lehigh River should attract a lot of families and young individuals trying to get into a more suburban area. Some of the weaknesses that we had are that construction costs are at an all-time high, which makes our project a little bit more expensive than we would have liked. And as Tim mentioned before, not as many unique amenities as we were trying to strive for, bigger apartment sizes. Some of the opportunities that we have are the ability to capture one of the fastest growing housing and job markets in the nation, and the housing deficit in Allentown, which we touched on before. Some of the threats that we face are more economic related, a higher for longer inflation period, or higher for longer interest period, and rising inflationary environment.
And as we move to the sensitivity analysis using different rental revenues, we can see that if the market experiences a 10% decrease in rent prices, how that will affect the levered IRR, unlevered IRR, and the average yield on cost. And as you can see, if there's a 10% increase in the market, those numbers are going to go up. I would say a pretty significant amount. You're going to yield a lot more on the cost. Our market price, I think, is a pretty good metric. We're looking at a levered IRR of 16.7 and an unlevered IRR of 8.67. So that's a positive return on investors' investments. So our recommendation for you guys is to go ahead and do this project. It is feasible. We've done the market analysis, we've done the financial analysis, and we believe that it's a feasible project that will generate positive returns.
Right on time, exactly 12.5 minutes, so that's very good timing. I'm going to turn it over to the Gary in case you have any questions, clarifications for you.
When you guys did your market analysis, competition you did strictly in Allentown, what properties did you look at when you were doing like analysis?
Yeah, we looked at properties mostly in Allentown and then a few that were in Bethlehem, or I think one that was located in Easton, but everywhere that was in the Allentown or Lehigh Valley area.
1,400 square feet for a 2-bedroom seems high to me for a 2-bedroom. Is there, when you came up, I know you made the statement less than that we need more square footage. Is that why that number is?
Yeah, so that's kind of what our whole goal was. We find that the tenants that we're going to try to attract, like I said, that they would rather than having a pool or all these extra spaces where they could go, that it would be better for them to just have that extra room, especially with the amount of remote work and that kind of stuff that has taken on in this new stage, that a little bit extra room in the apartments is going to allow those tenants to be happier than they would with if they had a pool that they could use once or twice a year, or the other amenities that other apartment complexes have.
One other question for you. You use the term sports court.
Yes.
What does that mean to exactly?
So it would basically be a basketball court, but you can kind of use it it'll have multi-purpose use. So you can use it for other sports games kind of stuff. So it's not strictly basketball, but that's what it is. So just multiple.
There's a competition. Anybody in the competition have that particular use?
Yeah, I mean, I know like pickleball is a big sport that's on the rise. So I guess that's one thing that could be incorporated in that court, because I know a lot of other people are starting to build pickleball courts on their basketball courts. So that could be that multi-use feature.
Well, thank you. Nice job.
Thank you.
I might miss this. Did you look at, or what did you budget your ramp up to be? When will you be at 100%?
Oh, so we actually, we never said that we were going to be at 100% in our, whenever we ran our pro forma. It was
3%.
No, so we started at, I believe, 8% year one. Then we went down to 6% for year two. And then I think it was around 5%, which is what we said, which is honestly, we think that we could probably get lower, but just to make a safe pro forma, we decided that 5%, but the average in the market is around a little bit above 6%. But given that it'll be part of such a new, strong development, I think the demand will be there. So
You budgeted 5%.
yes.
Did you also look at concessions as part of that related to, I don't know, if there's a competition, any concessions they're given?
Question similar.
I'm done.
Okay.
Oh,
The apartments you're putting in, was this a phased approach? Did you dump them all on the market at the same time? Is that the plan? Or is it 20 at a time, build them as they rent them? You know, did you guys take any of that into account?
We were looking to just do a all at once approach. So once it's ready, then but establish the leasing and getting those tenants signed off prior to that stage, but opening it up to everybody around the same time, once the project is done.
All right, thank you very much. All right, we're gonna turn it over to Hughes Development Consultants. Clicker.
I'm in no one. Good to go.
Good to go.
Good to go. All right, thank you guys so much for joining us for this Tuesday evening. This is the Northridge Apartments. We are the Hughes Development Group. And just like Professor Heaney, we too dream that you all will love this decision with us. And before getting started, I want you to introduce ourselves. Myself, I'm Hector Morales. I'm a senior here at Lafayette studying economics. And for this project, I took on the role of a project strategist. And I'll pass it over to Will.
Hi, everybody. My name is Will. I'm a sophomore. I'm studying government law, and I handled some of the market analysis with that.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ella. I'm a junior here at Lafayette studying international affairs. I was a market analyst with Will, and I'm going to pass it over to Safina. Thank you. Hello, I'm Safina. I'm a sophomore. I'm studying economics, and I did the financial analytics.
So that's just a little bit about our team, a little bit of a rundown of how this thing's going to go for us. Obviously, we want to talk about the project vision. We want to talk about the market analysis, the property analysis, the financial summary, risk and mitigation, and at the end, give you guys a little conclusion of what we think is the best decision here to make. So first off, getting started, we want to talk about our project vision. Why is this even happening in the first place? And one of the biggest things is Professor Heaney came up to us at the very start of the semester and told us about the former site that belonged to the Allentown State Hospital. And so it was about 120 units of both market rate and affordable housing to build. We went in February to visit the site. We looked at it, we saw the potential that was there, and we thought this is a great opportunity. And so we were on track with Professor Heaney. And going inside with the 2030 Allentown vision, one of the key points that they have is community housing, having more luxury, having more affordable housing, and really targeting that younger demographic. There's a lot of graduates. Think about it. There's 11 schools here that are coming, they're growing. There's top talent coming out. We want to retain these people here. And so we really thought this was a good decision to make. And so one of the things that differences us is the ample amenities. I know I'm bringing these things up. We're going to talk about it more so in a market analysis and financial analysis as well. But one of the big things that we want to also do is capture a sector of the market that's currently lacking in supply, which is studio apartments. And so overall, we plan on anticipate about 4.42 acres of land being purchased. However, that's just a little glimpse, and I'll pass it over to Will and Ella. We're going to talk to you more through that market analysis.
Thank you, Hector. All right, so first of all, I want to talk a little bit about the location of where our site is located. We're right in the heart of the Lehigh Valley, which is about roughly an hour and a half from New York City, an hour from Philadelphia on a good day with no traffic. Yeah, being that close to two metropolitan hubs is a big benefit for us, we believe. Everything those places have to offer is why someone will live in this area.
And then on the right here, we have the more local, so that's going to be more of the statistical area. And then in the little red area, that's the primary market analysis area. This includes like Bethlehem, Allentown, Easton. This is going to be where we're focusing most of our local market analysis on. So now I'm going to get into a little bit about why you would want to invest in the Lehigh Valley. Okay, so our proposed development is going to address a problem that's rising in the Lehigh Valley, and that issue is that there's an influx, a growth in population, and there's a housing deficit. Right now, the current population of Allentown stands at 125,000, and it's growing every day. And approximately for 2025, we have a 2,200 housing unit deficit. That means that the population is growing, there's job growth, there's graduates, but we don't have enough housing to support that kind of growth. And now, additionally, the Lehigh Valley has a really hot rental market. Less than 1% of the apartment units in the Lehigh Valley are new construction, which means that our complex has a very competitive advantage being a new construction type of complex. Rentals heavily are outweighing owner-occupied units as well in the Lehigh Valley. And then on the bottom right here, we just have a graphic showing that in the Lehigh Valley, as Hector said before, there's a really big growth in younger demographics, meaning that our offering of studio apartments to the Lehigh Valley is gonna be an asset as we see more young people ages 18 to 24 coming into the valley.
So as I would just talk about why building in Allentown, or building the Lehigh Valley is a great idea, I'm gonna talk about why someone would want to even live here. Allentown has it all, sports, arts, culture, entertainment, a lot of green spaces in the city. Actually has more parkland per capita than any other city its size in the United States. It scores well in the walkability index, but one of the things we want to address with our development is the transit score. It could be better than it is currently. One of the benefits of the Northridge development is that it's right on the Atlanta bus route. So the residents of our development will have easy access to the rest of Lehigh Valley through that means. The city has talked about increasing the viability of public transit in the city through their 2030 vision. So we hope they can increase that support.
All right, so we did some research on the comparables and we found that these four kind of match the standards that we're gonna be proposing our development to. In our calculations, we found that the average studio price was about $1,500. The average price for a 1-bedroom in Allentown was about $1,800. And in Allentown, the average price for a 2-bedroom apartment was about $2,000. Now, our proposed rental prices are a little bit above that, and that's for a few reasons. First of all, rent in Allentown is rising rapidly, so we want to accommodate for that change. Second of all, we believe that our proposed development offers some amenities that aren't available and are in high demand in Allentown areas. So, for example, we're one of the very few apartment complexes that's going to have a pool. Only one of these has a pool, and then many of them are lacking fitness centers, have less square footage. So that explains a little bit why our prices are above that average studio price that we calculated there. Now I'm going to hand it over back to Will to just start off the property overview.
All right, so here's what our proposed development is going to look like. We're planning on 4 3-story blocks of buildings, 120 units. We have 144 parking spaces because we found in our analysis that residents want at least 1 parking space per unit, with the addition to have more if they so desire. The ratio of our studio and 1-bedroom to 2-bedroom units is 3-to-1, which is in line with the target demographic that we're trying to capture. And 15% of our units are going to be designated as affordable. 6 of each type is going to be split among them. We're going to have 1 amenities building. It's going to be 2 stories with a pool and a fitness center, as well as a spa. We do have outdoor amenities with green spaces, which are dog friendly, and a combination pickleball and basketball courts for the community to use and enjoy. So the yellow dot here is where we selected on the parcel for our development to be. We're towards the back of the land near the river and the green spaces and trails that I was talking about earlier. We were able to take a visit out to the site back in February, just to walk around and check it out. And we believe it's going to be a good place for our development and everything else that's going to come on that land in the coming years.
All right, thank you, Will. So this is just like a quick snapshot of our floor plans. We decided to go with spacious, modern, kind of to match the vibe that's already in the area and also meet the design that the younger demographic enjoys. So that's just like a quick snapshot of our floor plans. And then again, our amenities in more detail. We're offering some amenities that other apartment complexes in the area don't have. So yeah, this is just another overview of our amenities. And now I'm going to pass it to Safina for the financial analysis.
Thank you. So here's a quick snapshot of our pro forma over the 10 holding periods. And we also have the base returns. I'm going to get into that throughout the slide. Okay, so starting off, we have the uses of funds for the construction. It consists of salt costs and hard costs, and that comes to a total of about $30 million. Then we have an interest payment and an origination fee, and it comes to a total project budget of $35 million. Now for the sources of funds, we have a construction loan of about $18 million with a loan to value ratio of 60% and a senior debt balance of $23 million and a loan to value ratio of 66%. Now you may notice that the loan to value ratios are different, and that's because we decided to borrow less for construction, because if you pay attention to the left side of the screen, you see that the interest rate for construction loan is 11.7, which is exponentially higher than the permanent mortgage interest rate at 6%. And then we have the pie chart for the 66 to 34 equity split. That leaves us at our equity at about $11.9 million. So for our conversion information, when we like to sell the project at in year 11, our exit cap rate is 6.25%, which is a little over our go out or go in cap rate. And we have a gross sales price of $53 million and a transaction cost of 3%. And we have a net sales price of about $51 million, taking into consideration the 3% transaction cost. And we have net proceeds of about 33.7%, $7 million, after the loan balance is paid off. So our assumptions, as you can see for vacancy, it starts off at 15% year one, then at year 3, it stabilizes to 3% throughout the rest of the holding period. Then we have a revenue growth rate of 4% and an expense growth rate of 3%, and capital reserves is at 2% for the gross income. And here's a quick snapshot of the financial summary for year one. We have the rental revenue and the rental expenses with vacancy taken into consideration, as well as for the parking. And we have apartment operating income taken into account, as well as the capital reserves. And that brings our NOI for year one at about $2 million. So for our base analytics leverage, we have a leverage IRR at 15%. Investors are looking for a leverage IRR at about 13% to be 2% more over the holding period. And for the leverage equity multiple, we have 2.39. And that means for every dollar invested, we're making about $2.92. For the net present value leverage, we have about 1.9 million. As long as that number is positive, we're way over that, so we're fine. The unlevered is negative because that would be the case that we wouldn't be borrowing money. Right? Leverage, ROI, we have 20.20%. That is for year 3. And for DCR, that's also for year 3. It shows that we're going to be making a 30% profit on our investment. So here we have the downside and upside analytics. We made a little tweak to the rental value, 10% for downside and 10% increase for upside. See the numbers has changed exponentially. This is just this. Yeah, on the other side. And you see that we increased by 2% for DCR and about 2% for ROI, and then the same thing, but opposite for downside. Now Hector is going to be doing the risk and mitigations.
Yeah, just to wrap things up, there are obviously a lot of risks associated with this project. These are the 4 that we found to be very crucial and the ones that we want to look at the most. Obviously, as we said earlier, this was an Allentown State Hospital. The land is not in great condition. So obviously, one of the biggest risks that we're gonna face is the environmental risk. And obviously, we've already inspected the land, but we want to continue doing our due diligence. We want to have inspecting this land. We're not professionals. We don't know how this land works, so we want to have some geotechnical assistance. We want to make sure we have people that are helping us, making sure that we're making the right decisions. Another thing is the big financial risk that comes associated with it. You know, as we look at the economy, obviously interest rates are still at a very high rate, and obviously GDP just came out and wasn't a great number. So these are things that we want to consider, and so some ways we want to mitigate those risks are having those reserves set aside, ready for anything. Obviously, we have that diverse funding. This is not coming out of our own pocket. This is obviously split in a debt equity type of model. We also want to have that insurance coverage. One of the other risks that we face is stabilization risk. Obviously, this is something that is very crucial to us as we are we're the new kid on the block, right? And so one thing we want to do is really, as soon as the city lets us and gives us the approval, we want to get people signed up. We want to have a list, pre-leasing. We want to have people signed up, ready to move in as soon as our construction is completed. We want to have really focus on the sales and marketing. We want people talking about this. This is a brand new location, and so we want to keep doing that. And obviously, as Ella and Will stated, we want to continue doing our market analysis as things can change. Obviously, one of the biggest things is construction risk. You never know what can go wrong with construction. And so you want to be on top of that and you want to be ready to mitigate that. And the way we plan on mitigating that is by having active project management. We want to have contingency planning and we have quality control. We want to make sure that we're setting our timelines, we're reaching those timelines, and that everything is going according to plan. So there's just a couple of risk mitigants. And just to wrap things up, I want to just remind you about some key points that we talked about. This goes hand in hand with the Allentown 2030 vision. We think that this project is something that is really crucial and will really lead the way as when we want to. It's still 2024, still early to reach that. And obviously, as Safina was talking about earlier with the numbers, There's a lot of upside potential here, and there's still so much value for money. And one of the key points that I wanted to mention, we're one of the very first groups in this whole 200-acre area to be starting off, and so there's still so much opportunity for growth. The space will continue to grow. This is obviously also going to help the local economy grow. And so overall, we anticipate that Northridge will be a feasible project and have a successful tenure in Allentown. And we thank you guys all so much for listening. And we now open the floor to any questions.
Jerry, you want to?
I'll jump in the game.
So there you go.
Do you guys give any thought to, the construction costs? And I know you guys had a figure up there. I don't know if you're able to toggle back. Was it 25 million? That was yeah, so the hard cost, 25 million. I'm just curious, how did you guys arrive at that figure? Maybe as it relates to the overall square footage assumption? I want to get a sense of that.
Yeah, okay. If you want to take a quick look at our pro forma, we have sorry. I'm sorry. No, oh, sorry. Sorry.
Yeah, we have a link right there.
With that number,
Sorry?
you have contingencies in there, like 10%.
Right.
Contingency fee, just says, one thing that can always vary on the project is the hard construction costs.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We have a lot of information.
Yeah, that's.
Do you remember the contingency number?
Contingency number? I can, the contingency fee number, it was a percentage of the, total project budget. I don't remember exactly what the number was.
You'll come to your input and summaries table where you have your project budgets on the development budgets.
I can.
It's okay.
It's okay.
No, no,
It's okay.
please, please,
It's okay.
please. So,
It's
yeah,
okay.
just to make it
I don't
more
know the exact-
conversational.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, yeah, just to make it more conversational. Don't worry, I don't mean to create kind of a pressure cooker type of situation here, especially my first question getting out of the gates. But, clearly, I think the overarching theme being that, construction costs are gonna be probably one of your biggest concerns and risks, right? And so just trying to think through, the art of the possible and having that kind of protection, right?
Yeah, so the, construction hard costs, I know that we took into account, like, the amenities, so like the pool, the square footage of the different apartments, the spaces where the lounging spaces, like, all of that is taken into consideration. And also we have different fees, like contingency fees and other fees, that allow us to build on the land, so that all adds up to the total construction cost.
Yeah.
But I don't know the exact numbers.
Of course, no, that's great, that's great. Food for thought.
Yeah, you have in there, looks like revenue from parking.
Yeah.
Are you gonna be charging your tenants?
Yeah.
To park in there?
Yeah, so we have every parking spot is gonna come at $60 per spot, and obviously we have 1.2 spots, so there's 144 spots total. So obviously $60, and then again, if you want another car, it would be another $60.
So 144 spots, you said 120 units, right?
Yeah.
And then a 3-to-1, you said studios to 2 bedrooms? So you got 32 bedrooms. 32 bedrooms is 9 single, right? So the parking ratio is there guest parking?
Yes, there is, additional guest parking available. Like you said, there's only 120 units, so whoever needs guest parking, that's also a fee that comes in, like the, income from the park.
Yeah. So the primary thing with how our proposal really went is that we were targeting, again, a younger audience. So we're thinking it's more single family or younger. So we expect people to have one car. And so, yeah, there obviously be space for guest parks to park. And again, those that we do anticipate to have families and be more than one, they'll have the opportunity to purchase them.
When you did your pro forma, did you, figure any affordable housing into it?
Yeah, so we did 15 per, Will mentioned this earlier, we did 15% of each. So the 15 comes out to, so we have 6 of each type, so 6 studios. Yeah, 6 studios, 6 one bedroom, and 6 of the 2 bedroom, and those are all charged at 80% of the market rental.
You had a premium. I just when you did the competition, like, did you visit the competition at all, or you just took the information online with the rents of the other community? What you doing?
Comparables?
Yeah.
Comparables?
Yeah.
Yeah, what was the community?
Did you can actually go visit the other comparables or just?
No,
online?
no, I did not.
But we got the information from apartments.com.
Apartments.com, yeah, I do.
That's what, we're on margin stuff. I look at the average studio price of 1,711. I look at city center, some of the other pricing at 1 bedroom 14. So you have, your premium is based on just the amenities,
Our premium is good stuff. Yes.
just more amenities you're giving, you can charge that much more. That's your.
Yeah, so a lot of the rationale was the amenities, and as well as being one of the newer buildings in the area. This is brand new space, and so we expect that there to be more demand as well. So that's why we have the upcharge from the regular average
Yeah.
rent.
As I mentioned, like, I think like less than, it's 1% of the apartments in Allentown are actually in construction, so the competition on that market is really hot, and some of the newer apartments, like newer construction apartment buildings like Victoria and Parkway is charging more, so that's why we decided to upcharge as well as amenities.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Now, actually, we're doing very, very well on time. I'm very pleased that every team has started right within the time frame allowed for it. So we're gonna ask ACDC, sounds like a rock band. These ACDC design consultants, they're gonna give you a presentation and see if they have something else to propose. All right, so you're on the clock.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Max, and I am a proud speaker and one of the representatives of ACDC. As cool as rock is, it actually is an acronym for our last names. So as you can see, this is truly a group work. This group worked for hours and everyone contributed. We start with Sarah. Sarah is the market expert and also someone who just keeps me on track when I get crazy. And I'm sales and marketing manager, economics major from Istanbul, Turkey. So it means a lot to me to be speaking in English to you all. And we have project manager, Michael. Michael, I trust him with every single number I can ever see. I'm no expert, but we also have Dimitri. You're gonna hear a lot about the two of us. Dimitri is the financial analyst. He did so much and he's only a freshman. I'm a senior, I have so much to learn from him. So hopefully we're gonna represent this amazing group and present you not just numbers, I'm gonna throw you a lot of numbers, but also an ideal. You, me, all of us tenants, we want to create an ideal, create a lifestyle. And I need the slides. I like pretty things. I think it should be aesthetically pleasing. Continue. So here's a little bit about our approach. We start with our vision, market analysis, offer, timeline, analysis, returns, and risk and mitigants. So, Dimitri, tell me what's going on.
So we took a two-pronged approach to our vision. So the first prong is all about data. We looked at two main data, the Ash reuse feasibility study, and then the city center initial site plan. And the feasibility study really told us about kind of which concept do we want to choose, in terms of what are we looking for, what do we want to transform the space into, and we had a few restrictions that you can see on the top right, but kind of what did we need to satisfy, and that was affordable housing, meet the demand in the market that we obviously talked about. And a lot of neighborhoods were concerned with like blending in the neighborhood. They don't want to just like have like an eyesore in their backyard that kind of like obstructs their view and kind of ruins their nice little community. So the second prong is obviously what we're planning to do. We're planning to acquire 4.5 acres, which is slightly more than what we need. But we want to be pet friendly, have a lot of green space, have a lot of availability to walk around. And our first year NOI is 1.6 million. Our IRR is 13.8, and our return is 4.7.
And here's my part. Why Allentown? I think our approach would be best described as like client focused. Our tenants, you, me, we all want to be happy about it. So obviously north of Philadelphia, downtown New York City, we're gonna have commuters, and our client base is actually millennials, and we have a little profile going on. They're career focused, they have young families, 2.6 is average household size. Only like 40% of them are married so far, but they do have kids, and we would like to consider that when we're like kind of doing our unit mixes. So we're gonna keep our studios less, more room in case they want to have their home offices. Our market demand seems like, especially in the next 5 years, is gonna be very hot. Like Allentown is the #1 fastest growing city. And we have healthy vacancy rate, and we would like to keep in mind that they're educated and credentialed individuals, and they're tech savvy, but they're also kind of going into the sandwich generation that they're gonna start taking care of their elders, and like they're also taking care of their kids as well. They're gonna want their free time. So our unique selling point is gonna be our amenities and more space than our competitors. A little bit on the pricier side, but you'll see. Our offer. As you can see, we have 20 studios, 48, 1 bed, 1 bathroom, 52 and square feet. We have a lot of space. We have amazing amenities. I love talking about amenities because I think it's all about creating the lifestyle that we promise. So we have the indoor pool clubhouse. As you can see, they're all gonna be based on our measurements. So I feel good about it. What do you think, Dimitri? We have comparables, and on the right-hand side, you see our apartment. I did some like architectural renditions, obviously subject to change, but as you can see, we are a little bit on the pricier side, but we offer a lot more space, and we're ambitious, but we also think that we have very competitive advantage in the market. And as you can see, the little star, only Bridgeview apartments have a pool, and that's an outdoor pool. That's one of our other advantages, that we are proposing an indoor pool. We did the math, it works out, and they're gonna be able to use it 4 seasons. And we would like to give them that opportunity because, come on, like, we're in Pennsylvania.
So next, we're gonna go into kind of our timeline, which we estimate to be about 2 years and 9 months. But obviously, city centers helped us a little bit with more of the permitting and the zoning pre-development. So we think we can cut it down to about 24 months, which is what we assumed in our construction period and how we estimated our construction interest. So next, this is our loan. We assumed a 67% loan to value ratio. Our loan is about 20 million with a 7% interest rate that we were able to get from the Provident Bank. And our monthly payment is 145,000. And next, this kind of goes into our total development cost, which is 31.5 million. Our construction loan is 14.3, added with $4 million of soft costs and loan fees and interest, added to about 20 million, like I said before. And our IRR is 13.8, and our ROI is 36.26%. And this is our first year of financial summary, with gross rental income being 3.2 million. Our NOI being 1.6. We assumed 15% vacancy in the first year, 7.7% in the second year, and 3% vacancy stabilized on the third year. And obviously on the past slide, I had other income, and we really wanted to involve the surrounding neighborhood. So we have a public access fee. We have clubhouse rentals included. We have a second car surcharge. So the first car is free, but we do surcharge $400 for additional 24 spaces, and we include 168 spaces in our lot. And I'm gonna hand it back to my partner, Max, about her amazing amenities.
I love amenities, all about lifestyle. So you can see we all included that. We have fees, leasing. Going back to the last two, we are talking about young families, millennials. They want their kids to be safe. If they're working and commuting, they want the education area. Allentown as one of the best education areas for younger kids. And we have a gated community, security cameras to keep them safe. Bike storage is free. If they want to bike, they can store their bikes. And we have storage lockers because no one likes clutter. And we have the Wi-Fi for all of those tech-savvy hybrid working individuals. And it is included, so they don't have to know they're paying that. So hopefully that's just going to be a part of the package.
So I really found 3 risks when looking at this development project. we had rent risk, environmental risk, and expense risk. Our first risk was rental risk, and that's really median market rent. We know we're above market rent, and we hope that through affordable housing, both in just what we were describing in the project, which is 80% at a 15% discount, but also looking at tax exempt bonds, trying to do 80% of the AMI with a 33% housing allowance. And then our next point would be environmental risk. Although City Center the Allentown took care of it with a $12 million remediation, we want to do more proper testing and remediation. And lastly, expense risk. We'll hold a contingency account, just be able to kind of back up what we have in cost overruns or pricing. So this is kind of our concluding recommendations. We are obviously a go. Our net proceeds are 28.8 million. Our going-in cap rate is 7.39. Our exit cap rate is 6.5. That's in line with market expectations over the next 10 years. And we expect our property to appreciate a little bit. Our gross sale price at the end of 10 years was 46.1 million. And I'm going to hand it back over to Max for our concluding statement.
Do I have another minute to just?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
So concluding recommendations, Dimitri gave you all the numbers. I'm just gonna brag about the photos that I came up with on the slide. I just want you to look at that and like, imagine yourself there because that's what we're trying to do. These are not just numbers, these are people, and we want it to feel like home. We want it to be a part of the community. We also want it to be like, I mean, on like the luxurious side. They would like to, like, if you want to live there, if I want to live there, I think it's a good investment. So you know better, but that's what I want to say. And last thing is this group, like you heard a lot from me and Dimitri, but this is a group project. They know so much more about things. I love talking, storytelling, and Sarah always kept us on track. So it was a pleasure to work with them. We were trained by the best, and I hope you enjoyed our presentation.
Thank you.
What do you think the value of having a pool is? How much more a month do you pay in rent to have a pool?
So my currency is a little different than American dollar, so that's like a full thing. But a lot, even when I'm looking for hotels, I want a pool. And I think, especially in Pennsylvania, the weather is not nice. It's been very windy ever since I got here 4 years ago. And I think like a pool is an important aspect because COVID-19, after that, they want to have fun, but most people do have the kind of work schedules that they're not really that flexible with like going on vacations. And America doesn't have the best beaches on this side. So I think it is important. I would pay that amount.
Okay. And do you know off the top of your head what number you use for operating expenses, percentage of revenues?
We don't really have a percentage, but I know that our operating expenses were around like $1.2 million in the first year, and they increased at a rate of 3.3%.
And you said 7% interest rate on the construction loan. That's
8.5% on the construction loan, 7% on the advertising.
okay. Thank you.
When you looked at the competition, do they also charge for these same type of amenities? I know you have a more robust amenity package, but is your competitive set also charging for parking, storage, and other types of things?
I mean, most of them, like fitness center, community, like clubhouse are more standard. They do charge extra for pet fees, and some of them do not allow all kinds of pets, but overall, we didn't do that in depth of an analysis. We mostly focused on like the Marketville area and like the closest comparisons. But as far as I know.
What is your largest expense within your operating expenses?
I believe it's our management fee at around $244,000 a year.
So what is do you happen to know what was driving that? Was that a percentage of GI?
Yeah, I believe I calculated it at around 1% or 2% of our total project cost.
So are you thinking of that as being basically development fees or really management?
Kind of like management, like operating, like we took away trash and janitorial services, we took away like snow removal, landscaping, we kind of calculated that all into one like fee, like larger for it's all those.
So like property management.
Right.
We're a small firm, we're not doing any of these, so as many possibly.
For your contingency amount, do you have an amount for that? contingency?
7% was our,
For the contingency?
for construction costs.
Yeah, that's not the same. You guys factoring in construction fees into your overall cost anymore? Was that covered within the hard costs or the soft costs? Yeah, that's within the soft costs?
Yeah, our total is on hard cost combined, soft cost, got 4 million. Hard cost is 14.3.
Will you factor in the construction interest as an expense? Or
We added it to the advertising.
other questions? No. All right, okay, thank you very much. Yeah, and, we're doing so well on time, I'm not even taking time anymore. You guys are staying right on top of the flow. We're gonna ask elite planning consultants, to give us their presentation. We have 4 different, models, returns, costs. And of course, each one is justified based upon your profile and your analysis. So it's elite consultants turn to show us what they have. All right, so over to you guys.
All right, yeah, so good evening, everybody. We'll be pitching for the Northridge Apartments in Allentown, PA, with the elite estates. Yeah, so I'm David. I'm the property analysis for this project. I am econ and film and media studies major. And yeah, sophomore.
Okay, so I'm Devin. I'm a financial analysis. I'm a freshman and I studying econ.
I'm Fatima. I'm a sophomore. I'm studying economics, and then I'm taking property market analysis in this project. I'm Wilton. I'm a senior, and mechanical engineer.
All right, so yeah, so our purpose is basically to develop these Northridge apartments, meeting the demand for high quality rental communities in the Lehigh Valley, also preserving and creating affordable housing for the area. Also, so we're doing that by reserving approximately 15% of all units as affordable housing and offering a mix of 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom studio apartments. And yeah, we cater to diverse income levels within the community and through strategic planning, innovative design features and notable amenities. We'll offer a balance of comfort, luxury, affordable housing, and contributing positively to the area's growth. So this is our agenda. We'll be going over the property analysis overview, the market analysis, financial summary, and risk and mitigants. So for the property analysis, our apartments will have, well, you're not gonna read, but 200,000 square feet. These are stories, the different amounts of units that we have. These are different amenities that we have, outdoor basketball, fitness, spa, clubhouse, community pool, pickle courts, typically catering to the younger target consumers, but also there's stuff for all ages. All right, and then, yeah, so again, these are units when it comes to the 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom studio. Because of the lack of demand for studios, we're basically, we put sort of our value into that, just back into the 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom apartments. But yeah, these are rent averages, a little bit over 2,000, a little bit over 2,000, 2,600, a little bit over 1,300, and then our total expenses will come out to 628,868. And I'll pass it over to Fatima for the market analysis.
So the Lehigh Valley is in eastern of Pennsylvania, and it's known for pistol production. But now they focus on healthcare, technology, manufacturing, and demonstration. This includes Easton, Allentown, and Bethlehem. The Lehigh Valley is near Pennsylvania, 60 miles southwest of Philadelphia, and 90 miles southwest of New York City, and they both share a border within New Jersey. Allentown is known for its diverse population and with in needs of very much of housing needs. This designing of like apartments will basically help with like a lot of affordable housing options, amenities, and access to public transportation. This will also give a lot of people with job opportunities when creating these uprising buildings. This is the population trends, and we see the population trends within the last 24 years and within the ASH study in Pennsylvania. These are the amenities. There's attraction, there's the museum, there's a dining, there's Lehigh Valley Mall, public fairs, and there's also Middleburg College on since I mentioned about healthcare technology and as well as distribution, on the left side there is the healthcare center of the healthcare courses. There's also the manufacturing, and on the very far right there's technology. There's technology manufacturing as well. The market overview.
Yeah, so basically the market overview covers the population growth when it comes to the Lehigh Valley, Allentown, just national, all over the states in general. Covers the average household incomes, unemployment levels, and the average age of the workforce.
Okay, so this is the Northridge Apartments competitors. We have 6 flats 10. Halford Spring Apartments, 530 High Street, and Palmer View. These are just like their averages and what their rent and units come with in storage. So this is our financial analysis. This is just the basic snapshot of our performer and what I'll be going through and talking through. So our gross rental income for the first year is about $3.3 million and expected to grow to approximately $5 million by year 10. The vacancy for the first year is expected to be around $300,000 due to the predicted slow year. However, it is predicted to decrease to $100,000 with a growth rate of 3% by year 10. Our operating expenses are expected to be around $640,000 with a growth rate of 2.5% until year 10. Our equity cash flow for year 1 is $659,000 with a 4.79% cash on and cash. By year 10, our cash on cash will be about 13% with a $1.7 million. Unlevered versus leverage. So for our unleveraged, we have a loan, $26 million for IRR of 14.65%, which is higher than our expected 13%. The NPV is almost $3 million. And for our leverage, we have taken out a loan of $11 million at an IRR of 18.11% with an NPV of $4.7 million. Our sensitivity analysis. This is just our base year. We expected for the rent to be about 4%, the vacancy to be about 3%, and the expenses to be about 3%. Our gross sale price is about $51 million with a transaction cost of 3%. Our nail sale price would be about $50 million, and net proceeds about $34 million. So these are our risks and mitigates that further we talked about the construction delays, the environmental factors, the market demand, the resource allocations, remediations and mitigations, and strategic collaborations. So going off of that, our upside, we believe that it will go to the rent will go 1% higher to 5%. The vacancy will go down 2%, and expenses will stay the same. You can see that our gross sale price went up almost $7 million to $58 million. You can see our net sale price went up almost $6 million. Now it's at $57 million, and our net proceeds went up to $41 million. Now, if everything goes bad for our downside, we believe that the rent will go to 3%. The vacancy will shoot up 1% higher to 4%, and I believe our expenses will stay the same. So now our sale price will be $44 million with a net sale price of $42 million and a net proceeds of $27 million.
Okay, so before we finish this amazing presentation, we're going to go through a last analysis, which is the SWOT analysis. First of all, we have the strengths. There is, as you might know, we have Allentown is a strategic location as it is located close to major cities such as New York City and Philadelphia. there is also an economic diversity as there is a mix of industries over there. And there is a rich cultural heritage, as we saw, there is museums, theaters, and so on, and educational institutions such as Muhlenberg College and for the weaknesses, we have an economic dependence, there is a workforce skill gaps, and also there is an aging infrastructure. There are some areas that really need upgrades. And there is also safety concerns as there are some areas where there are high crime rates. And for the opportunities, there are new business hubs. There are opportunities for new startups and also green energy companies. There is a tourism expansion infrastructure projects like this one, and innovation and technology and some sustainability initiatives. For the threats, there are economic fluctuations. As we know, right now we are in national inflation. There are competitive pressure as there are some nearby cities such as Eastern Bethlehem that are also attracting new talent. There are some disasters, natural disasters, as we know, a few weeks ago there was an earthquake in New Jersey. And there are also some demographic changes as some of the working force right now, most of them they are aging, and there are a lack of new talents. And after reviewing our performance and also other aspects, we concluded that this problem is feasible. Thank you so much.
In your performance, did you have any fees for parking or for amenities?
Yes, I don't believe it's included in there, but I believe we had like everybody else, we had 144 units of parking with 3% just vacancy, so it went down to 139 units. That leaves us to almost rent that out to about $45 for each parking space.
How much open space would you think within the outdoor parks or anything like that?
Amenities. So our so I believe most of our amenities that we built outside was just the basketball court, the pickle house, and the community pool. Everything else was like we planned to be inside of the building, so it didn't have to take up no space outside of the area, like the fitness room, the clubhouses, and like the spa. We believe that all should be built inside the apartment.
You mentioned some competitors that you can study, or how does Elite Estates pricing compare to them?
So basically, we believe that that our average that we took from comparing all those together, we think that ours is about the same range, but we like offer more, as in like our amenities and stuff. For most of them, they always charging about almost $60 to $70 and a price fee for like dogs and cats. So it was like boosting up their like apartments, which I believe that ours is basically better because we don't have to like charge for like dogs, cats, and all that. And then our price, we believe this is better. So
your price was about the same as theirs once they put in all their fees. And
yeah.
I do like the fact that you mentioned the Lehigh Valley Hospital. Nice one.
Yeah.
I will say every presentation of the amenities that the package is very impressive. I just wonder over 120 units, how much of that, when you factor into your cost, how much more it's going to cost to build, because there's a lot of amenities almost every presentation. I think that's the big number you have to look at is what you can charge fees. And I think what Dallas is saying, I think it's interesting is how different competitors will charge for everything. But our philosophy is like included more, because a lot of feedback we get from people say, oh, that's included, oh, that's included. So you fight the game of add-on versus here's a higher number, but it's all included. But I'd say the amenity packages of all four of them are, the presentation is very impressive. And you have reserves, you have a number per year expense-wise for reserves set aside?
I don't believe this can.
Reserves.
Reserves.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, it's right there, $36,000.
Okay. Can you tell us about, who the tenant profile is? Who are these?
Targets. Demographic, who are you targeting?
Yeah, of course. So, our target is primarily, people within the age range, 18, 34. Obviously, we're still preparing for, people over that age range. People with families coming in with, not huge families, but the type to have one kid, like a 3-person household, something like that. So that's kind of what we prepared for with all of these amenities and factors into our.
Young folks, young professionals, right, families, makes sense. Do you guys live there?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, any questions from the audience, to any of the groups? If you have any glaring question that you want to ask. Thank you very much for your presentation. All right, I'm sure the judges have the easiest time making their decisions, so we're gonna turn it over to the lead person to let us know how they rank your presentations and how they feel about the whole thing. All right?
Well, first, we'd just like to thank everybody for taking the time, putting all these together. They were all very impressive. It was not an easy task, as you could see. I should have to come back and bang on the door and tell somebody else. One point I would like to make is, generationally, the younger generation, as seen by the workforce today, we look at the younger generation thinking, guys are in your phones, in your pads, in your computers, and don't have the ability to stand up and present and speak in front of groups. It's a talent that some people think is kind of dying. To see all of you present tonight, that can't be farther than the truth. You all did a fantastic job, represented both your and did really well with that part of that part of the presentation. So we all thought that was definitely something worth saying. So not everybody gets a trophy. So we have actually a tie for third place. One winner, one second place. So the tie for third is between Jacko Investors and Elite Estates.
All right. Yeah, come on, guys. Come forward. Yes.
It's so close.
Yeah, I know.
You're in there arguably. So second place, only 1 point behind first place. ACDC was second place.
Oh, wow. Yeah, come on, guys.
Congratulations, everybody.
Somebody has two of those. Yes, all right. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
It's actually, it's got those in car. That big check. I'm so inspired.